Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I thought I literally was never going to listen to this song ever again. Well, oh god, now, I brought this video up when I was doing my a cappella reaction to Cadis, and I described this as perhaps, along with Friday by Rebecca Black, as being perhaps one of the two most notorious pop songs ever made. Now, I kind of want to go into a little bit more detail about that. Now, it was no joke, ladies and gentlemen, that when I first heard this back in, I think it was either March or April of 2010. In a matter of days, ladies and gentlemen, and I do mean this days, this had sold more copies than every single Beatles song they ever did put together. At least I believe that's what it was at the time. And that's kind of almost like really for me where the problems with this, my troubled relationship with this song like first began, because I mean, things sell, yes, but you have to understand as well, this was 2010 when digital copies and downloads had been a thing for 3.5 years at that point, since the very first iTunes festival and stuff like that. And again, John Lennon, McCartney, Harrison, and Starr did not have the luxury or the privilege of having iTunes or, you know, digital downloads during the 1960s. Because if they did, well, there would have been hefty competition. Let's be honest. They still would have absolutely have had to compete anyway. But the point again I wanted to make, ladies and gentlemen, is that just because something is popular does not necessarily make it good. You know what I'm saying? The coronavirus was a very popular thing, but nobody wanted that note, did they? And that's a statement and a half, that to begin with. And the only other thing I kind of want to say, ladies and gentlemen, about like why I also use the word notorious is because if you really wanted to, if you were to ask me, or if I asked you, can you name any song by Kesha? How many of you guys would immediately say Tik Tok? I imagine quite a lot out there would. Now, the problem with that, if you can really call it a problem, is that I know for a fact Kesha did way more things than Tik Tok. That's going to sound so confusing, but you see where I'm going from, ladies and gentlemen? And I'm not sure if that's like the best or the worst thing for like a person's reputation, that they only get remembered for one thing that might, in some ways, might not be as good as something else. Like Sir Mix-a-Lot, for example, he sort of like saw Baby Got Back as just sort of like a throwaway song, and yet it is one of the only, perhaps the first thing that will ever come into our minds whenever we think about Sir Mix-a-Lot. Now, don't say you don't, ladies and gentlemen. Do not lie about that. Now, I don't want to say necessarily that's like, you know, a bad thing perhaps to be best remembered, because Tik Tok is just one of those songs that kind of like, it defined something of a generation, or rather maybe defined a generation of pop music. But again, I have to emphasize this, ladies and gentlemen, 2010. So let's think of things that came out in 2010. Let's see. Lady Gaga had been on the dominating pop music for nearly 1.5 years at this point. Bad Romance, for example, was the very first #1 in the UK, at the very least, of the 2010s. You had Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys actually had quite a number of things that came out that year. Kanye West had Oh My Gosh, which why does nobody play that anymore? I love that song. You also had a lot of Dizzy Rascal. Oh God, Dizzy Rascal! There will come a time when I'm glad to bring Dizzy Rascal into the forefront, because, you know, some people think he's bonkers, but I just think he's free. He's just living his life. There's nothing crazy about him. Florence and the Machine. Oh, you know, You Got the Love is easily one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. I don't care if it's a cover or anything like that. The way Florence did it, my God, I couldn't think of like anything else that would come close. It was also around about the same time when My Chemical Romance released True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. And you know, again, it's not just in pop, but it's in all across other genres as well. There was so much to look forward to, and Beyonce was still making music, and and Kanye West as well. Katy Perry, California Girls came out 2 months. Well, the first time I ever saw it came out 2 months after this, and that really brings into a very important an important thing to mind, ladies and gentlemen. And Taylor Swift as well had been upstaged by Kanye a year before at the Grammys. I think it was the Grammys anyway. And now when you have so much great music that was going on at the same time, you kind of do have to ask yourself is how really good is how good is good when we compare it. I mean, they do say comparison is the thief of joy, but to be honest, because of how many great things that came out that year, there was just some things we may like a little bit more than others. That doesn't mean to say anything else is technically bad. It's just one of those things. I know I'm really dragging this part out, and I do apologize for this, but it's a very important thing I kind of want you guys to understand from maybe a nostalgic perspective, because this is the sort of thing I grew up with. But then again, fortunately, I went to an all-boys school, so you didn't really hear a lot of people quote Kesha or Rihanna or Lady Gaga. They talked about them, yes, absolutely, because it was just what was popular at the time. And not everybody was completely obsessed with rap, unfortunately. But it's, again, just sort of one of those things. So maybe there's something about all this, because, like I said, with how much new stuff gets released and how many things keep coming out, Rihanna had at least 5 singles that year. And it was really the first time I was ever introduced to Drake about a year after this with What's My Name as well, which is still, you could get away from. Okay, I think we should just get started, shall we? So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. Let's begin. Tik Tok in 3, 2, 1, and yeah, this is the one where. That's right.
Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Hey, what up, girl?
Grab my glasses, I'm out the door.
Now, okay, what was it I was saying what was I saying again about how some things were better than others? But I mean, to be fair, I'm not gonna like harp on this all day. But then again, Firework, which also came out that year, started off with "Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind?" So yeah, I'm not gonna hop on, to take Kesha too badly, because there are far stupider lyrics out there that open up songs. But that one felt particularly strange.
I'm gonna hit this city. Before I leave, brush my teeth with a bottle of Jack. Cause when I leave for the night, I ain't coming back. I'm talking pedicure on our toes. Trying on all our clothes. Boys blowing up our phones. Drop top and playing our favorite CDs. Pulling up to the parties. Trying to get a little bit tipsy. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ, blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. No. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ, blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. No.
Okay, so maybe there's another point I kind of wanted to bring up as well, because let me just find the right word. Okay, you may remember that like a couple of days ago, I was talking extensively about Pink and how she carried like a very rebellious like air about her, that she was gonna she was like her own person as well. She was gonna talk about being her own person, how she didn't want to be a stupid girl, and she actually kind of want to have a bit more fun, being sober. So I think image counts for so much in music. The way you present yourself on camera, the way you handle interviews, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, everything really should tell you right away that is exactly who it is. And this sort of thing carries so much of the songs you write and perform as well. Taylor Swift, for example, you could sort of recognize her for what seems to be this very humble woman from very humble origins. And she writes a lot about her own experiences and how nobody thought she would be able to do it. And she just mostly goes off a lot about how her life is and stuff like that. It's relaxed. It's the sort of thing you can identify very, very quickly. And it's just one of those things where she goes off about. And I'm just saying that's just kind of a thing. That's her style, if you like to say. And again, Pink's sort of style is about just being true to herself and being bold and brazen enough to say, you know what, do I really want to talk like this? Do I really want to look like that? Do I really think that, I can have as much fun drunk as I think I can? And then you get Rihanna as well, which I'd say her style is about, personally, I think it's about looking glamorous. I think it's about almost like glamorizing how fantastic it is to be somebody like her, because even in Russian Roulette, one of the darkest pop songs I can ever remember, Rihanna looks absolutely amazing, even though she's about to play a game of Russian roulette with guys taken straight out of Hellsing Ultimate. So at the same time, and again as well, remember, stuff that came out from Rihanna right about this year was Rude Boy, Te Amo, What's My Name, Who's That Chick, Only Girl in the World, California King Bed, even S&M, which I know was a little bit later on, and even We Found Love with Calvin Harris. I think it was Calvin Harris. So she looks like a superstar, and she talks about the sort of thing that would maybe appeal to maybe her demographic, those who also glamorize and idolize how great it is to be empowered and to really go off on your own way, to talk about romance and made to be felt like a princess and stuff like that. Certainly a very far removed approach from Paula Carr, or whoever she was, telling people not to sleep in the subway. At the same time, what is Kesha's style? What is the thing you can identify it? A drunk white trash chick who just parties all day long and drinks all night long. You see, that's the sort of problem you kind of get here, is that, is there something to hold on to? Is there something to aspire to? Is there something to relate to? Because I don't want to spoil anything for the rest of the video, but she gets picked up by the cops in this. But then they let it go anyway, because reasons. And now, in case you're wondering again, what about Lady Gaga? But at the same time, Lady Gaga can dance. She looks like someone you've never seen before. Kind of a huge throwback to Madonna, and a lot of the way she pioneered generations of superstars as well. Not to mention Lady Gaga's voice is really something else, and it is not absolutely saturated by auto-tune like this is. And I don't want to be mean to Kesha or anything like this, because her other songs do not do this image justice. Yeah, why even? It's almost like a fake it till you make it. But This absolutely made it instead. And maybe that's the best way to describe it. Maybe it's not a reflective of Kesha's like style or image, but it's just, again, one of those things that inevitably ended up happening. You never really know what will end up being popular, ladies and gentlemen. What about this? I don't know. Maybe we should try that. Okay, fine. Go for it.
Here and now the dudes are lining up, cause they hear we got swagger, but we kick them to the curb unless they look like Mick Jagger. I'm talking about...
Yeah, as well. This doesn't really do like a good image either. You get fucking... I don't know. I think it's they literally pulled Freddie Mercury like straight out of 1987 with a beer belly, and he just pulls up in this fucking one of the fucking ugliest looking. What even is this supposed to be? Is this meant to be like I don't even know what it's meant to be. And then immediately Kesha just immediately gets up off her feet and just goes with this guy. He didn't even think to come over to her as well, or to try and, you know, convince her. She just liked that. Which, might send a bit of a confusing message. I don't know.
Everybody getting crunk. Boys try to touch my junk. Gonna smack him if he getting too drunk. Nah, we go until they kick us out. The police shut us down. Police shut us down. Shut us down. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. No. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. No. You build me up, you break me down. My heart it pounds, yeah, you got me. With my hands up, you got me now. You got that sound, yeah, you got me. You build me up, you break me down. My heart it pounds, yeah, you got me. With my hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. Now the party don't start till I walk in. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop. No. Don't stop, make it pop. DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop.
A ver, amigo, ¿qué pasó, amigo de la gorrita? Puro bueno de este lado.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's just kind of where it ends right there. Kind of seems strange again, doesn't it? But I do kind of want to like... okay, so what else can I really talk about with TikTok? Aside from the fact that... because I think a lot of the things we just mentioned sort of cover it. Now, let's say you did not see the music video. I think, again, the same problems will like carry up, because is there anything else about like the video that like is worth mentioning? I mean, she wakes up in a bathtub. She just gets this tricycle, well, this bike, trades it for a ghetto blaster, gets a ride with some fucking stranger called Barry, somehow does not get arrested, and then she just is some random house party. Now again, I'm not asking for, the Fablemans or anything like that, but it's just kind of there, really, I suppose, is the way I want to put it. But then again, it wouldn't surprise anyone. 641,501,111 million viewers, which is not bad at all. You know what I mean? I don't think that's bad whatsoever. Don't take me, ladies and gentlemen, as to be an example of like what makes great music. It's just, I'm just here to talk about it, really. That's kind of all it's all about. And now, as I said before, I think there is much better stuff by Kesha as well. Maybe it's the sort of things we don't hear the radio blast out every 30 minutes. But then again, stuff like Take It Off and We Are Who We Are. And by the way, they spelled it we, W-E, and then just the letter R, who, are, we are. And with another R. They couldn't spell R because properly for like 3 times because the title is as redundant as the song itself. And I could talk about Take It Off and We Are Who We Are, but unfortunately I could talk and hype on about the fact, it's about, individualism and, we will just be who we want to be. And, it's not something I haven't heard before, but unfortunately, I would not mind if they did do stuff like that. But unfortunately, the best I can really say about stuff like that and Take It Off, which is just about, like, I don't know, like I said, taking it off, and you're just partying and all that, and just enjoying yourself and having a good time while you're here. But again, the best I could really say for those 2 songs is that they exist, I guess. And if it's meant to like define Kesha's image, you would be mistaken in thinking that Kesha's image is just somebody there just to like fill like the void of what people stereotype being of pop music being like, just obnoxious, shouty people who sing about nothing and then they move on to the next one and they get popular for it, which is a very unfair assessment for pop music, and I will absolutely defend it to the moon and back for it. But like I said, if you really want to stand out, that's why you should make special music. That's why you need to have like an image. That's why you need to define something to an audience. You gotta really go out of your. And unfortunately, this is just kind of even looking back after all these years, I could probably see maybe why I maybe fell off from pop music a bit about 2 years after this came out, because there was just things that kind of like collide, just didn't really like work with each other and stuff like that. It's a good thing that Bruno Mars and Tiny Temper and Tinchy Stryder were still around. In fact, Bruno Mars was just on the rise at this point. And again, Bruno Mars's image is like a young, enthusiastic, soulful, very reminiscent of something like Otis Redding, for instance. If you ever actually get the chance to check out Unorthodox Jukebox, there's one song at the end of it. It's only 2 minutes in length, but it is an absolute Otis Redding throwback. It's called One Day You'll Come, I think it's something like that. It's one of the best songs I think he's ever made, and I would be remiss if it completely went over people's heads. But that's all I gotta say about that. And final thing I want to say is this the most notorious pop song ever made? No, it isn't. I don't think it's that great either, but I think there is energy to it. I think there was an attempt, absolutely, to make this like exciting and to give something, but it just, looking back on it, there is better stuff out there. But again, that's what, if you don't want to make special music, then you know what, it will fade away very, very quickly. And that's sort of, maybe sometimes that's how it is. If you don't stand out, or if you don't do anything to like again, this is me saying that that I think Kesha has done way better stuff that we may not have seen, but there you go. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to Tik Tok by Kesha. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys felt of Tik Tok for yourselves. Older than the average TikTok demographic, I'll say that at least. And I will see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.